which college football team has the most fans? And then why, in parentheses, we think Michigan edges Ohio State. Here are some. This is the top 10 after everything is accumulated. In A&M, Florida, OU at the bottom were like very, very small differences between those three teams, so they added all of them in a tie at number 10. Does that list the way – now, again, this is not the most merchandise. This is not the largest TV ratings. This isn't the most viewers. This is everything combined, and it doesn't mean that if some other outlet or even if you did it, that you might come up with a slightly different, but this is a combination of revenue, online wagering of certain teams, merchandise, Fanatic, is it Homestead, is that right? Sales, TV viewership, Google, home attendance, all of this, and by the way, the TV view
home field. That's the Fanatics and
home field, okay. Yeah. Home attendance, and then also TV viewership that includes StubHub ticket sales, top 20 watch teams, how many have been inside the top 20. So it's a combination of not just attendance, revenue, or how many Michigan jerseys are sold, and this is who they have 1 through 10.
Well, the top two are the two biggest universities in America, I believe, or two of the five. And they hate each other. So that's going to be a thing. So there's a lot of
they feed off each other.
Online betting doesn't surprise me a little bit more for Michigan than it would be to Ohio State, especially given the last couple of years that Michigan has been up and down. So bettors betting against Michigan or for Michigan the last couple of years would have flipped, and they're kind of an interesting team, especially since last year they still had this pretty elite defense and an offense that was disastrous. So they might have been a pretty interesting play when it came to that. So, yeah, I mean, like, none of this surprises me that given all those factors, I mean, Michigan, Ohio State, Texas, Penn State, A&M, and Florida are all gigantic schools. I mean, there's a lot of bodies at the schools currently. There's a lot of bodies who went to the schools. So you have a fan population there across the way that's just a ton of people. Alabama's not a small school. Georgia's not a small school. But comparatively, Notre Dame is a small school, but they also have, a religion behind them as well. So, yeah, they're just all, I mean, I wish there was one in there that would have been like, didn't know that about Utah, that they had so many people out there. But this list, given all those factors, not a surprise to me because it's not only popularity when it comes to sports is not only winning and your brand name, it's also hatred. So all 13 of those teams.
To be your best requires commitment, dedication, and intensity. It's what defines elite athletes and inspires Airwaav to find new ways to optimize your performance. Introducing Airwaav Recovery, a mouthpiece designed to work while you sleep to further unlock your potential. Airwaav Recovery features our patented reflex technology, small integrated bumps uniquely positioned to activate your tongue's natural response. Your tongue will instinctively move forward, opening your airway and improving your quality of sleep. And thanks to our patented fitting material and a purpose-designed support wall, you'll enjoy a secure, comfortable fit all night long. With Airwaav Recovery, you sleep better and recharge faster. Airwaav Recovery, recharge your potential.
Listed, there are 12 teams listed there, have as many people who hate them as people that love them.
Yeah, I mean, this is what the top 10 recruiting classes, the top biggest stadiums, the top. Throw a category in there. This is basically the same schools we see every single time. So not surprising that they're also the most popular. And yeah, that's the bluest of the blue bloods in a lot of cases. So fill in the blank on most whatever, and most NFL players. Probably going to be the majority of this list. Most biggest stadiums, probably going to be a majority of this list. Most NIL, maybe that'll be different. because Texas Tech or somebody would interrupt that and throw themselves in the mix. But I don't think there's any great surprises here. It's all the biggest brands, and they're the biggest brands because they have the most fans. So I think there's, I don't know, maybe you'd think Texas is more popular than Georgia, or you'd have Notre Dame over Tennessee or something like that. But in terms of the teams involved, I don't really see any huge surprises here.
Well, the attendance, the top 5 in attendance, Garrett, if I said at the beginning, if I asked you to name the 10 most popular college football programs, I bet you could get 9.95 of them. Maybe 1 or 2 would slip through the cracks. Is there anybody that's not on that list that you think should be?
I mean, I think you could make a case historically for Florida State, but not given the past couple of years, because they're usually kind of lumped in with these programs. But outside of that, there's not one that I could think of that could kind of jump up in there and get in the mix with them.
USC's not a part of this list. It's a small private school, but one that's incredibly popular.
USC, Miami, Clemson, FSU would be probably on the second tier, I guess. Nebraska.
There's a couple of categories where they're listed, but not a part of this overall.
But when you look at overall, like all those schools, like the schools I just listed, and like Florida and A&M, right there. Florida has titles, but Florida and A&M, especially recently, OU, really just the last couple of years. I mean, they were dominating a conference for a quarter century before they left it. So, but A&M and Florida in particular for a very long time haven't been as relevant as they were, 20 years ago. Florida State, not as relevant as they were a decade ago. Nebraska, certainly not. Miami, certainly not. USC, certainly not. So all those schools have been less relevant over time. So you look at that bottom 3, like I would even kick A&M and Florida down and just put OU by themselves, because OU of this list of those 3 is the only one who's had any kind of recent success as far as being in the playoff. And,
not under
Heisman
Venables.
Trophy winners and all those things.
Right,
yeah,
and they've still been relevant now the last couple of years, 2 of the last 3 years. All right, who do you think led the country with the most online wagering with them involved in a game?
Say that again.
Who among – it doesn't have to be a part of this list. In fact, there's going to be some of these questions that don't include the overall mixture, throwing it out and spitting it out like a computer. What college program led the country with the most online wagering when they played? I would have said probably Ohio State or Texas, but I'm wrong.
I'm going to say Alabama because of their schedule this past year.
They were 8th.
8th.
In fact, no, I'm sorry, they were 3rd. I'm sorry.
3rd, okay.
3rd, which is overall. I'm talking about online wagering. Craig?
Tennessee.
USC. And they're not a part of the overall stuff. But yeah. USC? Is it because, and
here's the other thing that's weird. Like, I think sports betting's not legal in California right now. So,
you're getting away with it. Number 2 would have been Georgia. All right. Well, Number 1 merchandise sales. We've discussed this before. Notre Dame's 1.
Yeah.
Michigan is 2. They're almost like you almost think of them 1 and 2. They used to play each other all the time.
You know what? You know why I think Notre Dame is 1? I swear to you on this.
Religion?
I think it's because every time a little baby gets born and baptized, there's somebody in that family or friend group that will bring in a little Notre Dame onesie. I think they sell more baby clothes than anybody. Maybe BYU is probably close in the baby clothes, but Notre Dame and BYU on the baby clothes have to be way up there because you have a religious event, a baptism, that you're going to, this is a good gift for the baptism. I'm a Notre Dame fan. It's a Catholic thing. You go in and, in the nomine Padre, the Fiat del Espírito Santo, and then boom, you've got
a onesie.
Yeah, a onesie.
Who do you think led the country with the most Google searches?
This past year?
No, this is from 2020 to 2024.
Oh, let's see. Who's head coach at Texas?
Texas, not in the top 5.
Well,
LSU?
6.
A&M?
Nope.
As in, what the F is going on?
Alabama.
Okay, yeah.
Think about a program that eats, sleeps, and does everything football, and of course all of these do, but Alabama. They also had a category of the most tickets sold on StubHub when they're playing. Michigan was 1 and Alabama was 2. Texas was 3. Home attendance, we know all that. We know who those are. The top 20 most watched games. They had one category, by the way, of the highest viewership: Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, Texas, 1 through 5. A big drop-off, by the way, between 4 and 5, Michigan and Texas. The top 20 watched games in college football, Alabama 22. Of course, they have been fantastic.
Go back a second.
Yeah.
You said a big drop-off between Michigan and Texas.
Yes.
And
so Alabama has had 37 4 million or higher viewership games.
So what you're telling me is that there are 4 teams that would justifiably have their own network before the one that actually did.
The Longhorn Network. Well, one of them, I never thought of them having their own. Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, and Michigan were 1 through 4. That's not a surprise who they are, and think about where they've been. But there was a drop-off from Michigan having 31 of those games of 4 million or more, and Texas having 19. And all the other ones were in the 30s. So this is, again, home attendance, capacity, all that stuff. We know that. We've gone over that many, many times. So who did you say, Garrett, you're surprised they're not on the list?
I think you could make a case for Florida State, just given traditionally what they've been able to do. But I know the past couple of years probably hindered that.
I mean,
too.
Clemson's not on the list, and they've won 2 natties.
They were in the top 10 for Google searches.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Dabo says some dumb stuff, so, or some controversial stuff.
How about Oregon not a part of that? Because they're very popular when it comes to merchandise, but they're still kind of secluded.
I mean, Oregon, poser's not the right word. Imposter's not the right word. They are the biggest wannabe there is.
How long?
And they're trying hard. They're not doing, but they're not they have not achieved it yet. Like they are, they're the kid they're the guy in Karate Kid that follows Johnny Lawrence around, but it's not going to win the All Valley. The one laughing like, put him in a body bag. That's them. That's Oregon.
How long?
I mean, dude, honestly, A&M's the exact same thing.
No,
way. Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. Oh,
How
yeah,
much
yeah.
longer does Oregon have to be good but not do anything about it where they're not A&M on the West Coast?
What are they, what?
How long does Oregon have to be good, relevant, or whatever, popular, but not win anything, and all of a sudden they might as well be the West Coast version of Texas A&M? What have they ever won?
Nothing.
That is what they are.
That's what they are.
Yeah.
That's exactly what they are.
So there's no how long. That's what they are.
Okay.
Yeah.
StubHub ticket prices. I know we have John Wilner. The top 7 teams among StubHub. Michigan, number 1. They had 30% more ticket purchases than number 2, Alabama. Huge fan base, Michigan. And I thought it was pretty cool. They had Fanatics and what'd you call it, Paul? Home field? All the same teams. Fanatics and home field, all the same teams. But there were a couple of times, like Auburn, when it comes to football revenue, and Nebraska inside the top 10. I wouldn't have thought of that, but they are. Those are 2 teams that are otherwise listed. Texas well ahead of everybody. $180.6 million. This is from up until a couple of years ago. And Georgia was second with $152 million. USC, the most bets. Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, and Texas were the rest of the top 5. So there's a little bit of it. And this is, again, everybody can have their favorite. Everyone can look at different places. You could add different categories. Which school in America has the largest living alumni?
It's Ohio State, right?
They're 6th.
UCF.
No.
Oh, no, they have the largest.
They're too young.
They're too young. Largest BYU?
No.
No. That's not a big
One
school.
more shot at it, and then we go to John. 5 is A&M.
Okay.
4 is UCLA.
Oh, yeah, it's a big school.
Michigan 3, Penn State 2, and Indiana.
Huh. Wow.
It's 790,000 plus living alumni. So just something different.